He took out the Night Killer sword and asked the expert its value. Holding the knife, the expert's eyes were full of admiration. Night Killer sword, containing the meticulous talent of craftsmen, at least 600,000. Hearing this price, Sung Jin Woo was stunned, shocked in the shop. Previously, it sold for only 28,000, but here it sold for a high price, even with a label. It seemed the shop no longer needed to sell counterfeit goods. At the Bakko Union building, Baekhyun was still thinking about Sung Jin Woo's existence, whether he really existed, and if a hunter could continuously develop. Before the red transfer gate, he was weaker than me, but in just a few days his magic surpassed mine. Baekhyun leaned back in his chair, his mind relaxed after much thought, because he understood that Sung Jin Woo couldn't be recruited with such tremendous power. He could establish his own union. Why join another union, even if it was the country's top union? If he continued to develop wherever he was, he would be the king. Chairman Choi and I completely wasted our efforts. Right after obtaining an S-rank certificate, Sung Jin Woo became a world-famous figure. Media outlets competed to report on him. He was besieged under his house, like holding a little sister. He sneaked out to look down, surprised to hear the incessant clicks of cameras. Sung Jin Woo also lost patience, wanting to go down and chase them away. His little sister stopped him, saying he couldn't go down now. The other day, he ignored the reporters and suddenly disappeared, causing people to angrily curse him online. Now going down would only make things worse. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. His little sister unconsciously hid behind the door. Sung Jin Woo couldn't control himself anymore. Now they even came to bother him at home. He had to say a few words to them. He opened the door and cursed, only to see a wealthy young man crying bitterly. His father had kicked him out of the house, and now he had no place to go. He wanted to go to Sung Jin Woo's house. Before finishing his words, the young man closed the door. His little sister stepped out and curiously asked who he was just now. Sung Jin Woo pretended not to know, saying he didn't recognize that water vein. Let the young master yell outside the door. His mother would pity him. She asked her husband if it was too much, but Chairman's anger inside grew. Because of this son, he missed the opportunity to lead the union and became someone else's disciple. Suddenly, he felt pain, a throbbing in his head. His vision blurred in front of his wife. Then he collapsed to the ground. Sung Jin Woo gently opened the door to his sister's room, where she was sound asleep. He summoned 3 demon warriors to guard her, but they were too large to fit inside and could only sit outside on the ground. Sung Jin Woo suddenly remembered that the great mage had 4 great summoners, but only 3 were present. He pointed to the ceiling, saying that the remaining summoner was forgotten in the demon prison. He then realized his mistake and felt ashamed for forgetting about him. Sung Jin Woo then went to the rooftop and summoned more shadow warriors, instructing them to become the defense force for the residential area and to be cautious not to be detected. They began their patrol immediately, disappearing into the darkness. Sung Jin Woo sighed, realizing that even when facing a serial killer, as long as they weren't a high-level hunter, his shadow warriors could handle them. Perhaps this was also a small contribution to the world. The next day, the young master drove to pick up Sung Jin Woo, since the Hunters Association office hadn't been found yet. They temporarily stayed at a nearby inn. Sung Jin Woo was surprised that the young master had actually given up his position as the leader of the association. Jin was indeed overly enthusiastic, and Sung Jin Woo didn't know how to scold him for it. The young master curiously asked what kind of business Sung Jin Woo was involved in that allowed him to buy a building so early. Before he could explain, Sung Jin Woo simply said he would be back soon and disappeared. Sung Jin Woo then returned to the demon world, where flames burned everywhere. This time he had prepared well, obtaining a heat-resistant cloak from the association and a ring with water magic. This time he was fully prepared. The system then presented a task to defeat a demon lord and capture his evil soul. The reward for this task was even more generous, including a high-quality gemstone. Sung Jin Woo now had 3 skills: shadow extraction, shadow storage, and monarch's domain, all extremely powerful. He eagerly awaited the next skill. The system announced that all floors up to floor 176 were now unlocked, and Sung Jin Woo wanted to go to floor 76. With that, he was teleported to the desired floor. Before him were various beasts and monsters. Sung Jin Woo summoned Tuck, who, if not looked at carefully, would be indistinguishable from the monsters. Tuck tightly gripped the bloodthirsty sword and let out a growl, creating a seal. A black dragon then appeared behind Sung Jin Woo, and he took a deep breath, exhaling a massive fire from its mouth, instantly incinerating all the creatures around and causing tall buildings to collapse into rubble. Sung Jin Woo sensed that his power exceeded his expectations after becoming a shadow. Even though the Shadow Warrior's strength was reduced when he used the bloodthirsty sword, the strength of the person wielding it was different from Tuck's. With the gemstone, he was even more ferocious than when he was alive. This gemstone seemed to be specifically made for him. In the emergency room, Jian, the chairman of the Construction Association, had been unconscious for 2 days before finally waking up. He asked the doctor about his condition, and the doctor explained that he had a sleep disorder that prevented him from waking up. Not only could he not wake up, but his vitality was also being rapidly depleted. Therefore, he needed life-sustaining equipment powered by magic. This disease appeared after the appearance of the teleportation gates, and many people had died because they couldn't afford the equipment. This disease was deeply related to magic. The doctor asked if there was anyone around him who regularly came into contact with magic, such as hunters. The chairman thought about it and realized that his son was the one. The doctor explained that some people were born with a low resistance to magic, and prolonged exposure would cause abnormalities. The chairman clenched the bed railing, feeling increasingly frustrated with magic. He felt discontented, thinking that he and Unemployed had been eliminated. If they were eliminated, they wouldn't lose. On a small island off the coast of Japan, a giant creature from Jeju Island successfully landed. With a Grade S teleportation gate, the magnitude of the disaster was unimaginable. In the past, there was a small island named Jeju that had been opened by a teleportation gate, causing monsters to flood out. The whole world mobilized high-level hunters to attack 3 times, but all failed. In the end, the government had to abandon the island. What surprised everyone was that the island became an evolving island. The monsters evolved rapidly, with some even growing wings to fly across the vast ocean and invade human settlements. Only Grade D and E hunters were the island's last hope, patrolling daily and reporting any teleportation gates to hunters outside. Assistance would be requested if no reinforcements arrived after 3 days. They would then wield weapons to defend the island. Suddenly, an E-rank hunter noticed a strange figure and approached. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a monster. In the battle in the demon world, the monster corpses were everywhere, and Sung Jin Woo's intelligence increased. The number of shadows he could extract and store also gradually increased. Unfortunately, their magic was contaminated, so he couldn't absorb them. Otherwise, he could have built a mighty army by now. Sung Jin Woo felt that his entire army was not operating efficiently. He divided his shadow warriors into 6 groups: Tuck, Iris, Iron, the Bear, Giant Dungeon A, and Giant Dungeon B. He also issued 2 commands. First, to act separately and kill whatever they encountered. Second, to immediately report when they saw the appearance of a floor passage card. The shadows dispersed immediately, moving at lightning speed. Although he felt sorry for leaving everything behind except the floor passage card, priority was now to reach the highest floor as quickly as possible. The team had just dispersed for a while when experiences kept pouring in. Once again, Sung Jin Woo felt that the Shadow Monarch profession suited him well. He only needed to stand still to supplement his mana. A few days later, the bear reached level 24, the infantry reached level 16, and the Shadow Mage reached level 19. Not only Sung Jin Woo, but the levels of all soldiers were increasing rapidly, and the conquest speed was also faster. It was estimated that they had reached floor 80, but had been stuck there for 2 days because they hadn't seen any floor passage cards. Suddenly, a terrifying wave of magic came from behind, causing Sung Jin Woo's mana to rapidly decrease. Then the shadows were continuously destroyed, with the rate of recovery unable to match the rate of destruction. They were completely overwhelmed. Looking in that direction, it was Iron's group. Among the high-level monsters, there was one who managed to defeat Iron. Due to the long distance, Sung Jin Woo had to summon the shadows back. The next day, the other shadows were continuously attacked after Iron. IQ's group and Giant Dungeon B were also defeated. What made Sung Jin Woo wonder was that on the path of Iris' group was Tuck's group. He deliberately bypassed Tuck's group. This monster couldn't defeat Tuck. If he intentionally attacked weaker groups, it meant he was very cunning, with the ability to see the weaknesses of his opponents. So the next target could very well be the bear. Sung Jin Woo hid behind the building, waiting for the right moment. Sure enough, the enemy appeared. His demeanor resembled that of nobility among demons. The bear growled at the enemy. A demon knight wielding a longsword charged at him, slicing the bear in half. Sung Jin Woo was startled. It was not strange that mana was quickly depleted. The hardened soldiers had no chance. They died as soon as they were revived. Suddenly, a demon spotted Sung Jin Woo, charging straight at him with a spear. Sung Jin Woo dodged, then kicked, gaining 3,000 experience points. Other demons saw this and pursued, but Sung Jin Woo disappeared suddenly before they could react. He reappeared in front of them and swiftly killed 2 lieutenants. The leader trembled as Sung Jin Woo chuckled, curious if monsters could feel fear. Now he knew. He didn't expect demons to have nobility. The demon continuously aimed at his weak points with his weapons, but Sung Jin Woo dodged in time. He was indeed a very smart and powerful demon. In terms of rank, his strength was equivalent to an S-rank beast. But his opponent was Sung Jin Woo, stronger than an S-rank hunter. The demon's attacks were too slow for Sung Jin Woo. He cut the demon's longsword with a short knife and was ready to stab him, but at the last moment the demon surrendered. Sung Jin Woo stopped, feeling strange because recently every monster could speak human language, and this voice was female. He forcefully removed the helmet on the demon's head, revealing the astonished face of a girl. The girl raised her hands in surrender and said to Sung Jin Woo, "I'm sorry, we were wrong. Please don't kill us." The bear behind was not happy about us killing many of them before and now begging for mercy. The demon girl hurriedly explained, "Protecting this place is the task of my clan's descendant. We cannot stand by and watch those who randomly hunt demons. Please understand." Sung Jin Woo said, "I've killed all those others. It's not good to leave only you alone." Unexpectedly, the demon girl said, "The duty of the knights is to protect me. They would be very happy if I am safe." Sung Jin Woo remained silent. He didn't expect her to be so natural. Indeed, she was a selfish demon, but with the appearance of a real person, and she was a woman. He couldn't just attack. Seeing Sung Jin Woo being cautious, the demon girl's eyes turned red. She drew a hidden dagger and stabbed, but the blow hit a puddle of black shadows. She didn't know that Sung Jin Woo still had Tuck by his side, using top-notch defensive skills, once a holy defender in his lifetime, now preventing the theft. Not only that, she made Sung Jin Woo angry, unable to deny it. This demon girl was really shameless. Seeing her failed sneak attack, she knelt down, begging for Sung Jin Woo's mercy and promising to compensate for anything. Sung Jin Woo said nothing more, directly demanding the demon girl to hand over the floor passage card. Behind him, he activated the gravity reversal skill, causing the demon girl to kneel on the ground in terror. Trembling, she said the floor passage card was held by her clan, and as long as Sung Jin Woo didn't kill her, she would give him the card. Not only that, she knew where the cards of the higher floors were located. As long as Sung Jin Woo ensured the safety of her and her clan, she would inform him. This made Sung Jin Woo suddenly wake up. It was not surprising that he hadn't seen any cards for the past few days after killing monsters. It turned out they were all hidden by the noble demons. Even this condition, it truly made Sung Jin Woo think. But with this demon girl who had twice tried to kill Sung Jin Woo, he didn't know whether she was telling the truth or not. He approached the demon girl slowly, emitting a dark aura. The surroundings suddenly darkened, leaving only his eyes gleaming with intense energy. The demon girl was terrified, her cold sweat dripping as she stammered that she wasn't lying. Seeing the threatening effect take hold, Sung Jin Woo ordered Tuck to release her. He said that as long as she cooperated well and handed over the card, he would quietly leave. But then, who were these people from an island somewhere in Japan? The man trembled in front of the monster, and behind him was a giant monster devouring flesh. It turned its head, and the man screamed in horror, then spread his wings and flew into the sky. The man died, along with many others on other islands, also falling prey to it. The demon girl, now thoroughly defeated, knelt down, begging for mercy. Sung Jin Woo spared her because she looked human-like. He knew her name was Isol, the eldest daughter of the clan leader who had left. She used to manage the demon floors. Sung Jin Woo asked in his mind if she heard a voice telling her to kill people. Isol was surprised, then thought and said she didn't hear that, but she heard a different voice telling her to protect their place. Sung Jin Woo pondered. It seemed the purpose of demons was different from that of monsters. Monsters existed to kill people, while demons were there to protect this place. Sung Jin Woo was the demon to invade them. He asked when they started hearing that voice. Isol said it was since they woke up here. Sung Jin Woo thought that before, Tusk also said that. Perhaps before, they lived somewhere else. This could be a clue leading to the system. Sung Jin Woo asked where they used to live. Isol said, "In the demon world." "What are you doing in the demon world?" "Preparing for war. We will fight against a very powerful enemy. He is stronger than all demons combined." Suddenly, the story was cut off as it exceeded the allowable range. Like the frost demons before, when they revealed prohibited information, the system would forcibly cut off the dialogue. This seemed to be an upgrade system designed specifically for Sung Jin Woo, with side missions, rewards, and penalties, all like a continuous game. Demons were also included as part of the game. The similarity to a game was that Sung Jin Woo continued to ask, "Who is that powerful enemy?" But the demon girl had just opened her mouth and already felt a headache, then completely numb, collapsing unconscious to the ground. It seemed that the demons were programmed, and if they violated the system's commands, they would be paralyzed. Who was the ultimate enemy of the demons? Why didn't the system allow me to know? Somewhere, hunters were panicking. A special creature was attacking. It wasn't an ordinary monster. Warriors rushed around, not having time to see clearly before seeing the hunters bitten to death. The creature was very clever, knowing prolonged fighting was unfavorable to it. So it eliminated weaker hunters and medics first to reduce the opponent's combat power. This was an intelligent species. But why did it appear here? Behind it was a Toyota smoking, cameras recording its attack process. The black box content was transmitted to South Korea. The director explained the disaster to everyone. This time, a termite-like monster had destroyed 2 small islands. Normal people were attacked. There were 108 hunters involved in the battle. 4 E rankers sacrificed 1 B ranker, 1 C ranker, and a captain. The decisive factor in defeating the termite was a hunter of A rank or higher who joined later. It meant that at least 1 A ranker was needed to control a termite. People were discussing frantically. Japan was one of the few countries with an advanced hunter system in the world. But a termite caused such a huge damage. If termites flew to neighboring countries, the consequences would be terrible. The chairman of the Guard Association said, "All islands within 150 nautical miles of Jeju Island have been attacked. It's just a matter of time before it reaches H." But the problem was, H hadn't yet arranged hunters on the islands like Japan. It couldn't send a few low-ranked hunters who might die entirely. The chairman worried. In this manpower shortage, who would come to help? The director of science called him back, whispering by his ear that Hwang Dong-suk of the Inspection Union had volunteered to help eliminate the monster at the Jeju Island transfer gate. This time, the chairman was startled, immediately guessing who betrayed the country like this. He couldn't be so kind-hearted. His only purpose was Sung Jin Woo. The director, being cunning, used the conflict between him and Baek-Yu-ho to refuse. Another person contacted the association, a national-ranked hunter. He was a national-ranked hunter. Returning to the demon world, the girl's voice echoed in Sung Jin Woo's mind. "Protect where you are." Upon waking up, his brain felt like it was rebooting, completely forgetting what had just happened. While the girl was unconscious, a horde of demons attacked Sung Jin Woo. At this moment, he seemed like a knight protecting the girl. He pointed at the demon corpses and said, "It seems like the relationship between you demons isn't very good, huh?" The demon girl replied that it was because some demons lacked intelligence and didn't consider enlightened demons as their kind. She led Sung Jin Woo to a castle where all the enlightened demons resided, able to communicate normally. Then they arrived at the Demon King's chamber. Sung Jin Woo thought to himself that if he were to proceed by fighting, this must be the final boss chamber. Then he saw the Demon King, whose face turned pale with fear upon seeing Sung Jin Woo. Although the girl couldn't see as a king, he could clearly see the shadow army surrounding them. Sung Jin Woo's guards quickly drew their weapons, but Sung Jin Woo calmly said that he and Easel had an agreement. He would quietly leave if they handed him the passage card. Cold sweat dripped from the Demon King's forehead. He had heard of a very powerful man invading the demon world and annihilating demons at an alarming rate. Even Vulcan and Metis were not his match. Although the Rao clan had become nobility, they still ranked at the top of the noble hierarchy. Considering Sung Jin Woo's strength, he could only yield. The Demon King asked if Sung Jin Woo only requested the passage card. Sung Jin Woo patted Easel on the shoulder and said there was one more request, to borrow his daughter. This pat made Easel blush, but it made the Demon King tremble with anger. Although yielding to humans hurt his pride, it was better than risking his life. Moreover, his daughter meant everything to him. Sung Jin Woo promised to return his daughter unharmed, and upon hearing that, the Demon King relaxed. He ordered his subordinates to give Sung Jin Woo a thorough check of the passage card. It was indeed authentic, meaning from now on, cards from higher floors needed to be obtained from demon clans there. After receiving the card, Sung Jin Woo instructed Easel to prepare for the journey. The notification system would share experience points based on contributions when requesting items from demon clans. Hearing that experience points had to be shared, Sung Jin Woo told Easel not to interfere if they fought. He would handle everything. Easel thought he was concerned about her getting hurt, so she blushed. They arrived at the transmission circle and entered together. Sung Jin Woo curiously asked where her horse was. Isil explained that only companions could enter higher floors, so she couldn't bring the horse. She took out a bottle of red wine from her backpack, saying the clan on this floor liked it, and her father instructed her to bring it for convenience. Sung Jin Woo thought the two clans had a good relationship, but Isil said even in the demon world, clans conflicted due to rankings. However, occasionally, conflicts could be resolved through negotiation. Hearing that they didn't get along, Sung Jin Woo chuckled and said she should wait there. He would be back after his journey. A black carpet appeared with countless sparkling eyes. Within minutes, the castle of the Galaxy clan lit up with exploding sounds and blazing fires. At the Hunter Association, the strongest national hunter, Go-Gun-hee, had to yield to the association president, Han. It was strange that he also asked about Sung Jin Woo's whereabouts. Although Sung Jin Woo often disappeared, President Gong didn't know anything. The old man asked the president directly why he should trust him. President Gong said the National Hunter Organization hadn't gone crazy enough to lie in front of a national-level hunter. Hearing that, the old man smiled satisfactorily. He said the main purpose of this trip was about Hwang Dong-suk, who caused trouble in the H country before. As a national-level hunter, he couldn't say directly, but he wanted the Korean Hunter Association to ban Hwang Dong-suk from entering the country to avoid further trouble. However, he heard that the association had already rejected Hwang Dong-suk's entry request, so he left after bidding farewell to the president. Before leaving, he suddenly remembered the situation in the H country, probably experiencing a headache due to the Jeju Island incident. He said if they had enough budget to hire him, he would be willing to help. The president felt stuck. These national-level hunters were really difficult to handle. At that time, the scientific director gave the president a sedative, saying not to worry because Japan had decided to support them. They would send hunters from a large labor union to assist. They were already on their way. Demons and demon cities, the smoldering flames, demon corpses scattered everywhere, and Sung Jin Woo annihilating them. With each ascending floor, the strength of demon nobles also increased, and they received more and more experience. Furthermore, Iris closely followed Sung Jin Woo. Her level had reached the maximum, meeting the conditions for advancement. After approval, they could advance to the next stage. The Big Bear had also reached the maximum level. They proposed Sung Jin Woo's upgrade. Without hesitation, Sung Jin Woo agreed, and from all four sides, countless shadows poured into them. They underwent the purification of darkness. Moments later, two massive dark energy streams shot straight into the sky. They successfully leveled up. IQ from night level to distinguished night level, equivalent to S-rank strength. The Big Bear from distinguished level to night level, strength equivalent to a rank. The two underwent a transformation like a rebirth. Isil addressed Sung Jin Woo. Boss Jin Woo. Sung Jin Woo interrupted her, saying, "Drop the boss. Do you know how many clans you've destroyed?" Sung Jin Woo asked, excluding Isil's clan. Isil replied, "Apart from my clan, you've destroyed 9 clans." Isil explained that from the 90th floor upwards, it was the territory of high-ranking noble clans. High-ranking noble clans were not as easy to deal with as lower-ranking ones, but if negotiations were successful, it might be similar to how her clan gave him the passage card. Sung Jin Woo disagreed, saying, "If I'm stronger than you guys, would you still negotiate?" This question stunned Isil. It was an obvious question, but she had never thought of it from her perspective. Sung Jin Woo, as a kind and empathetic person, surprised her. She asked why he spared her clan. Sung Jin Woo smiled and replied, "Because I like you." Isil was taken aback. His unexpected confession made her heart race. Blushing, she couldn't understand why Sung Jin Woo made her feel like a wealthy, foolish, harmless young master. It seemed he got along well with people like that. Just like demon hierarchy had lower levels, demons from the 90th floor onwards were completely different in combat strength. Sung Jin Woo's shadow soldiers were constantly being destroyed and regenerated, and his demon power was also rapidly decreasing. But that didn't matter to Sung Jin Woo, because he kept leveling up, surpassing the demons next to him. Hazel watched him intently, blinking infrequently. Even high-ranking demon nobles ranked 4 and 5 were slaughtered by him. Sung Jin Woo remarked, "So far, I've only met 2 people stronger than me, the Hunter Association President, Gogan Hee, and the Hunter Chahain. Their aura is much stronger than other S-rank hunters." Sung Jin Woo was confident that if he continued to level up like this, sooner or later, he would surpass these 2. He instructed Ezel to return while he would find the passage card himself. Ezel worriedly asked if she had become useless to him now. Sung Jin Woo patted her shoulder and said, "Don't be silly. The enemies ahead might be very strong. It's too dangerous for you to come any further. You've already done enough." "Thank you." After hesitating for a moment, Ezel decided to speak up, expressing her desire to continue accompanying him to know the final outcome. Faced with her determined gaze, Sung Jin Woo said nothing more, leading her to the 98th floor at Incheon Airport. A man and a woman disembarked from the plane. The man with a beard was the S-rank hunter from Japan, Gotoraiji, who had just arrived. He felt the bustling atmosphere and a strong aura. The late reception was due to a hunter from the Bayongok Guild causing trouble. They took Gotoraiji to the Hunter Association. President Gong carefully observed the man in front of him, the only hunter in Asia who could compete with Liu Jiang. The next generation was truly terrifying. Japan currently had 21 S-rank hunters, with 11 belonging to Gotoraiji's guild, Bao Kim. Unlike the competition between the 5 guilds in Korea, Japan had only one guild, Bao Kim, the second largest guild in Asia after China's century-old guild. They said they would support Korea wholeheartedly this time. Pluto Ryuji asked the president if he wanted to establish a joint strike team composed of top hunters to reclaim Jeju Island and eradicate the ant nest. The president naturally believed in Japan's capabilities, but thought that directly attacking Jeju Island was too risky. However, Gotoriji had prepared meticulously. He ordered his assistant to show the president the collected documents. According to them, the lifespan of the ants was only about a year. Posterior's plan was to eliminate the queen directly, and then wait for the remaining ants to die off gradually. The president found this plan crazy, but admitted it was the most effective. However, the ants would certainly fight to the death to protect their queen. To protect Gotoraiji's guild, they devised a combat plan to make all the ants leave the nest, then take advantage of the opportunity to attack. Previously, 3 times when Korean hunters went to the island, the virtual ants attacked. This conclusion was drawn from the technique of detecting demon power. This time, Gotoriji planned to include himself and 9 other S-rank hunters from the guild to participate in the battle, intending to lure the ants out of the nest and have Korean hunters exterminate them. Upon hearing this, the members in the room were shocked. 10 S-rank hunters equaled the entire top strength of Korea. The plan was indeed feasible, but the president didn't understand why a foreign guild would mobilize such a powerful force. Gotoriji's purpose was to help South Korea reclaim Jeju Island in exchange for the status of a national hunter. Ultimately, all countries would have national hunters, those who had defeated the S-rank gate, contributing to their country's interests. Since this was an S-rank gate, it required the mobilization of most of the guild's forces to minimize risk. Although not the most legitimate approach, it was the only way to become a national hunter. The president fell into contemplation. South Korea had only 10 S-rank hunters, but in reality, only 6 could be mobilized. With only 6 people, could they kill an S-rank ant boss? That was still a question. Unless Sung Jin Woo was added to the team who single-handedly defeated an S-rank ant boss, with him, success might be possible, but there was no time to hesitate. Furthermore, the ants were evolving too quickly and causing havoc everywhere. After considering it, he signed the cooperation agreement to conquer Jeju Island with Kotoraiji. In the demon world, after passing through the transmission gate, Sung Jin Woo and Easel arrived at the 100th floor. From above, a mysterious giant creature, emitting a powerful aura, approached riding on the back of a white dragon. It was a knight wielding an enhanced greatsword, the demon Lord Biden. Sung Jin Woo had never looked so serious before. The overwhelming aura made him wonder if he could defeat him. Was this the boss of this demon dungeon? Just the dragon he rode on was enough to send shivers down one's spine, let alone Biden himself. The aura emanating from him was suffocating, causing Easel to pale with fear. It was her first time seeing a blind demon lord, and his powerful aura and fierce killing intent made her tremble. Sung Jin Woo looked at the dragon and felt a sense of trouble creeping over him. But behold, a dragon named Catherine soared. This was the first creature Sung Jin Woo encountered in the demon world that didn't belong to the demon lineage. It could manipulate its shadow. The demon lord swung his demonic sword, unleashing the skilled infernal army. Countless purple arrows shot up from the ground, summoning demon soldiers, demon knights, demon generals, and demon commanders. In a blink, the area was overcrowded with demon forces, numbering at least 1,000. The demon beasts roared as they advanced towards Sung Jin Woo. Easel panicked, urging Sung Jin Woo to think of a plan quickly. But Sung Jin Woo remained calm, assuring her not to worry as it was still early. As the demon horde closed in on Sung Jin Woo's attack range, he activated the domain skill of the Shadow Monarch. A rumble emanated from beneath his feet as darkness swiftly enveloped the demons ahead. Sung Jin Woo roared, commanding all to perish. Countless shadows emerged from the ground, piercing through the demon forces with his blade. Easel widened her eyes in astonishment as Sung Jin Woo had already launched a preemptive strike. Most of the vanguard demon troops were annihilated by the onslaught of shadow soldiers. However, due to the overwhelming number of demons, some managed to break through the shadow army's defense and charge towards Sung Jin Woo. Unaware of the Great Iron's presence, Iris and Tuck continued to protect their master, the Shadow Monarch. Their appearance quickly eliminated any threats to their master. After their upgrades, Iris became more agile and powerful, with a wider attack range. With a single swing, she could slay demons several meters away before gracefully landing back on Vitus. Meanwhile, Tuck, in his massive form, summoned the infernal array, unleashing a barrage of fire that caused significant damage to the enemy. Easel's eyes widened in astonishment. Although she had accompanied Sung Jin Woo and witnessed his prowess before, this was the first time she had seen such a magnificent battle scene. It was truly terrifying. However, their opponent was the Demon Lord, the ruler of the demon realm, the ultimate adversary. Who would emerge as the strongest at this moment? The Demon Lord opened his mouth, unleashing a colossal surge of lightning energy into the sky. In the blink of an eye, the sky was filled with dark clouds and lightning, resembling his visage. Countless bolts of lightning struck the ground relentlessly. Sung Jin Woo sensed that this was no ordinary lightning, but a wide-area magical attack with special effects. If not countered, his shadow warriors would be torn apart, and his mana would quickly deplete. Quickly darting a few steps and then leaping onto the demon dragon mount of the Demon Lord, Sung Jin Woo forced it to take flight. However, the Demon Lord had already detected his approach and used his sword to block Sung Jin Woo's attack, then forcefully pushed him back. Sung Jin Woo was thrown backward to the ground with great force, causing internal organ injuries. Before he could recover, The demon lord roared loudly, gathering a massive surge of lightning above his head, then spewing it out from his mouth. The ground was instantly torn apart, and the colossal energy surge was moving towards Sung Jin Woo. He felt the imminent danger closing in too fast, and with his injuries, evasion seemed increasingly difficult. Just as the situation reached a critical point, a colossal stream of fire appeared. The fiery stream, equally terrifying, shot back toward the demon lord. Meanwhile, Biden Turk opened his mouth wide, unleashing a horrifying flame comparable to that of a demon king. The two energy streams collided with a deafening explosion. The demon lord deliberately redirected his attack, and the remaining book fell to Sung Jin Woo's position. With a roar, he glared fiercely, spewing forth an even larger column of fire straight into the sky. It struck the colossal dragon mount, catching Sung Jin Woo by surprise. It turned out that giving the gem to Tuck was the right decision. The dragon, hit by the fire, whimpered and crashed to the ground, causing the demon lord on its back to fall heavily to the ground as well. He lay beneath, looking up at Sung Jin Woo. Sung Jin Woo chuckled and spoke to him. "Finally, you've come crashing down. I don't need to crane my neck to look at you anymore." Despite losing the dragon, Biden remained formidable. He advanced towards Sung Jin Woo in fury, emitting an aura of deathly intent. He approached Sung Jin Woo with menacing demeanor, spewing a massive frost stream towards Tuck. However, Sung Jin Woo's mana was dwindling rapidly. Once depleted, the Shadow Warriors would no longer be able to regenerate. He had to end the battle before his mana ran out. Iron swung his colossal axe towards Biden, but he was stabbed with a blow accompanied by a stream of energy that eroded Iron's mental faculties. Iris responded by swinging her sword at the demon lord, but he parried the blow with his bare hand and retaliated by cleaving Iris in half. Sung Jin Woo rushed forward, swiftly activating his attack skills, targeting Biden's vulnerable points, but all were deflected by his sword. Before Sung Jin Woo could react, the demon lord swiftly grabbed him by the neck, lifted him up, and swung his sword down. Iron and Iris quickly intervened to deflect the blow. Biden was also astonished by the unwavering loyalty of the Shadow Warrior to his master. Taking advantage of the demon lord's momentary lapse in focus, Sung Jin Woo swiftly drew a dagger and stabbed him, while Iris's sword pierced through Biden's injured arm. The demon lord was forced to release Sung Jin Woo. Enraged, he roared loudly and unleashed a colossal energy stream from his body. The energy wave dissolved the Shadow Warrior and affected the surrounding area within several dozen meters. Sung Jin Woo could only use his arm to shield himself as he glanced at Biden, who was glowing. Two short swords appeared on Biden's hands. Sung Jin Woo stood firm, holding his sword, facing off against Biden with the knights and the jewel blades of Baluka. The two stared each other down before swiftly engaging in fierce combat. The demon lord swung his blades chaotically towards Sung Jin Woo, who continuously parried and counterattacked, aiming for weaknesses, but was blocked by Biden. Both parties wielded their jewel blades, attacking each other at frightening speeds, but Biden had a third weapon, his mouth. He roared, unleashing a colossal lightning bolt towards Sung Jin Woo. Sung Jin Woo used his two short swords to deflect it, but they vibrated from the terrifying power, and he couldn't hold on, being pushed back. The two daggers flew from his hands, leaving Sung Jin Woo panicked, realizing the danger he was in. Then Kima seized the opportunity, wielding her weapon to strike Sung Jin Woo. He hastily grabbed his iron arm, trembling from the tremendous force which was more threatening than Biden's mouth. The demon lord opened his mouth wide to unleash an attack, but was interrupted by something hitting him on the head, a weapon thrown by Isil. Unexpectedly, the girl, terrified of death, chose to save Sung Jin Woo in that moment, disrupting Biden's focus. Sung Jin Woo seized the opportunity, tightly gripping Biden's arm and twisting it until it broke. In the Demon Lord's astonishment, Sung Jin Woo gritted his teeth, exerting his own strength combined with the Dominator's hound skill, and punched straight into Biden's lower jaw. The Demon Lord's head was punched off, and his battered body collapsed to the ground. The system announced that the Demon Lord Biden had been defeated, and Sung Jin Woo received his soul. He stood tall like a king before Yi-Sol, then collapsed to the ground, jubilantly telling her that her clan was now #1. After Biden's death, his limbs disappeared, and the Shadow Soldier began collecting spoils of war. The system displayed: found the Demon Lord's ring, found the Demon Lord's longsword, found the Demon Lord's short swords, found the Demon Lord's boots, found the Demon Lord's evolution blood. Sung Jin Woo hurriedly put on Biden's ring, completing the set of 3 items. He activated the synchronizing effect, which boosted all skill points higher than any other equipment. What Sung Jin Woo cared about most was the Demon Lord's blood, one of the 3 ingredients for creating the water of life. With all 3 ingredients gathered, the system inquired: confirming water of life creation, confirming start of production. Success rate and quantity of products depend on the creator's intelligence points. After reading the notification, Sung Jin Woo prepared to craft the water of life. Sung Jin Woo smiled bitterly, realizing that he should have invested more in intelligence points. Fortunately, luck still smiled upon him. After the countdown, he successfully crafted 6 vials of the water of life. Surprisingly, the 3 ingredients were not consumed all at once, but gradually wore out, with only the revitalizing spring water disappearing completely. The Demon Lord's blood and the shattered remains of the tree reduced the world's supply. Sung Jin Woo looked at the 6 miraculous potions, capable of healing any illness with powerful magic. Could it cure his mother's illness? He really wanted to return to the hospital to confirm now. Iron slowly dragged the corpse of the giant dragon forward, and Sung Jin Woo laughed. For the first time, this giant knew how to think. Even the Shadow Soldiers had to acknowledge Iron's hard work, which pleased him. Under Yi-Sol's astonished gaze, the dragon awakened. The majestic creature stood before them, and the system asked Sung Jin Woo, "May I ask, sir, what name would you give it?" Sung Jin Woo pondered for a moment. What should we name the flying dragon? Kaiser Leona. What's its name again? Yi-Sol shook her head in disbelief. Apparently, the boss is terrible at naming things despite being so powerful. I've decided to name you Kaisel, receiving the grace of the Lord of Giant Dragons. The dragon roared in approval. Yi-Sol suggested riding the flying dragon back to the castle, but Sung Jin Woo couldn't contain his desire to see his mother. Flying down each floor would take too much time. Thinking about the unreceived mission rewards, he promptly opened them all. He received a high-grade magical stone and 30 points towards his Demon Hunter title. Holding the high-grade magical stone, Sung Jin Woo realized it could change the shadows, allowing him to switch positions with a shadow soldier designated after each use. However, he had to wait 3 hours before using it again. Sung Jin Woo was ecstatic. This skill was incredibly versatile. No matter where a shadow soldier was, he could switch places with it. He thanked Yi-Sol, and beneath his feet, a dark area appeared, quickly enveloping his body. Before Yi-Sol could say anything, Sung Jin Woo vanished before her eyes, leaving a shadow soldier in his place, bewildered and confused. Meanwhile, Sung Jin Woo returned to the real world, where 2 shadow soldiers were in this residential area. He had switched positions here because there were already 2 shadow soldiers in this location. It was hard to believe he could teleport such a great distance, similar to a teleportation gate. He called out to the sky, summoning Kaisel, the giant shadow dragon, to appear in the sky above him. Sung Jin Woo stood, ready for what lay ahead. Gotoriji gazed down at everything below, with the dragon carrying Sung Jin Woo gracefully across the city's sky. Inside the Hunters Association building, the scientific directors were examining documents about Jeju Island provided by Japan. They were using magical recording devices on satellites to capture clear images of the ant-like creatures. As Gotoriji had mentioned 3 times before the extermination, except for the queen and her guards, all other ants were heading out to fight. Their forms had completely changed, evolving from giant black ants into red ants even larger in size. Furthermore, they continued to evolve, growing wings and becoming giant flying ants. Their reproduction cycle was 1 year, corresponding to the lifespan of ant soldiers being a concern. However, the final boss of any high-level earthquake also had guards. What worried the chairman was that if the ants outside knew the queen was in danger, they might return to the nest sooner than expected. One director proposed using jamming waves, since ants communicated with each other using specific frequencies. Jamming waves would disorient them, meaning they could focus solely on the queen and her guards. Suddenly, the chairman was startled by a powerful surge of magic, even though it was far away. It was so distinct that even those outside the tent, like Baek-yu-ho and the man across from him, noticed it. They speculated that it might be Choi Jong-in and Chae-hain scolding their hunters or something similar. Baek-yu-ho glanced at the man across from him, Min Byung-gu, the world's first and only S-rank healer, who had voluntarily retired despite still being healthy. To outsiders, it might be hard to understand why he gave up wealth and status to live a normal life, but Baek-yu-ho understood. Min Byung-gu had witnessed his teammates die horribly under the ants' hands, causing severe psychological trauma that still haunted him to this day. So when the association invited him to join the plan to attack Jeju Island, he decided to decline. He told Baek-yu-ho that recently Yoo-jin had contacted him, wanting him to lead a labor union. Furthermore, since he had disappeared, many large corporations had continuously invited him to collaborate. Despite his imposing appearance, he truly disliked bloodshed now, feeling uneasy at the mere thought of it. Currently, he was preparing to take a teaching certificate exam because he enjoyed watching historical dramas and wanted to become a history teacher. Baek-yu-ho filled his glass with wine, drank it, and then placed the empty glass down. He explained that the reason he called Min Byung-gu was not to persuade him to join, but to bid farewell and prepare for the uncertain mission ahead. They didn't know if they would meet again after this mission. Meanwhile, Sung Jin Woo flew quickly to the hospital, looking at his mother lying in the hospital bed. He hesitated, unsure if the elixir of life could save her or make things worse with potential side effects. But in the recent time, the system had created many miraculous things for him. If he hadn't experienced them firsthand, he wouldn't believe that an ordinary E rank could advance to S rank so quickly. Moreover, the world still hadn't found a way to cure his mother's illness. So he decided to take the risk. Sung Jin Woo carefully opened the bottle of elixir of life and brought it close to his mother. As he was about to touch her, he felt a shiver running through his body. Taking a deep breath, he gave his mother the potion to drink. Suddenly, he noticed the scar on her neck, caused by an accident when he was young. But instead of being angry, his mother had only been concerned about him. His mother's kindness and selflessness had always motivated Sung Jin Woo. He had sworn to save her at any cost, but despite waiting anxiously, there were no signs of her waking up. Sung Jin Woo couldn't understand why. "Mother, please wake up quickly," he pleaded. "The only reason I want to become stronger is to protect the ones I love. So please wake up soon, and let me carry the burden on your shoulders." The Bonder family had driven an E-rank hunter to ascend to the pinnacle, despite facing death countless times in the dungeons, and even in the midst of the cataclysm. Just when he was about to lose hope, a figure sat up and called out his name. After years of separation, Sung Jin Woo was overwhelmed with emotion as his mother woke up. For the first time in 4 years, he looked into her eyes, and she held his hand, scarred from his battles, and said, "My son, you must be very tired with these wounds." Sung Jin Woo couldn't hold back his tears, crying like a child in front of his mother. The news of her miraculous recovery quickly spread to the hospital director, who was astonished by the unprecedented event. The family requested to discharge the patient immediately, shocking the director. How could a patient who had been bedridden for 4 years suddenly recover? The assistant whispered to the director that the patient's family was not ordinary. Sung Jin Woo was recently appointed as an S-rank hunter. Hearing this, the director broke into a cold sweat, realizing the gravity of the situation. He immediately instructed the assistant to proceed with the discharge procedures. If such a miraculous recovery had occurred, it was beyond his authority to keep them in the hospital. Sung Jin Woo's younger sister also arrived at the hospital, crying uncontrollably as she embraced their mother upon seeing her awake. Witnessing this heartwarming scene, Sung Jin Woo felt immense joy. It seemed like all his efforts and hardships over the years had been rewarded in an instant. However, amidst the happiness, he couldn't shake off a lingering sense of unease. He reminded himself to hold on to this hard-earned happiness tightly. Retreating to a quiet corner of the hospital, Sung Jin Woo took out his phone and checked the notifications, only to be greeted by a series of missed calls and messages. One news article particularly caught his attention. It featured Kaisel flying in the skies above the city, capturing the attention of the public. It was surreal to see his mode of transportation making headlines. Just then, a call came in from Gogani, the chairman of the Hunter Association. Sung Jin Woo wondered if it was because of his recent conspicuous actions, but the tone seemed different. The chairman invited Sung Jin Woo to meet and discuss the plan to attack Jeju Island, seeking his assistance. Sung Jin Woo hesitated initially, as he had wanted to focus on leveling up. But now that his mother had awakened, he felt less compelled to pursue strength. However, before he could decline, a powerful surge of mana rushed towards him. Sung Jin Woo asked the chairman if there had been recent conflicts among hunters. The chairman smiled and confirmed Sung Jin Woo's suspicions, stating that his intuition was sharp. He informed Sung Jin Woo about the imminent departure for the conquest of Jeju Island, where S-rank hunters were currently training fervently at the arena. Besides Gotoraiji, many other prominent Japanese hunters had also arrived to lend their assistance, surprising Sung Jin Woo. Despite not being a hunter himself, Sung Jin Woo was familiar with the most powerful names in Japan. He realized the need to observe their training in the 4 days leading up to the expedition, as the S-rank hunters gathered at the association's arena. Baekyu-ho's eyes glowed red with intensity, his white hair giving him the appearance of a fierce tiger. He charged into a brawl with a stout, chubby man, who grabbed Baekyu-ho's shoulder and sent him flying with a kick. Mocking Baekyu-ho, the man taunted him, asking if he was already weakened, despite being a young master. Baekyu-ho got up, chuckling, and replied that he wasn't a master yet, just a young apprentice. The two clashed again, their eyes filled with determination, the sound of their fight echoing throughout the arena. Sung Jin Woo and the chairman observed from above, noticing that Baekyu-ho seemed to be pressured. Choi Jong-in chuckled, remarking that Baekyu-ho hadn't exerted himself fully yet. If he did, ManhWa wouldn't stand a chance. Sung Jin Woo was puzzled. After all, ManhWa was an S-rank hunter and the leader of his guild. With his strength, he didn't need to hold back. Choi Jong-in explained that with so many eyes around, it wasn't appropriate to go all out. When fighting, Baek, as the chairman, would transform into a real monster. Understanding now, Sung Jin Woo recalled the rumors about Baekyu-ho being a hunter who could transform into a real beast. Choi Jong-in pointed down and told him to look at the people below. Aizawa, Isaida, Tanaka, Hoshino, Kumamoto, Kawata, Fujishima, Sumizu and Gotorigi, all S-rank hunters from Japan. Sung Jin Woo saw Gotorigi for the first time. His presence indeed extraordinary. They seemed to be paying attention to Sung Jin Woo as well. Gotorigi's expression turned serious as he observed the new S-rank hunter with such formidable presence. He was certain that this hunter specialized in assassination. However, the assistant informed him that the newcomer was actually a mage, as officially documented. Gotorigi was surprised by this revelation. Despite the strong aura, he was a mage. Meanwhile, another hunter lay sprawled on the floor, glaring angrily at Sung Jin Woo. "Who's that?" he demanded. "Isn't he the one who stole Head Sportlife from us?" Chihane turned around and remarked, "The atmosphere is completely different. It must be him." She pointed at Sung Jin Woo, stating that he was the 10th S-rank hunter in Korea. Isida, the tall one, expressed a disdain for all the S-rank hunters around, making Chihane sigh in agreement. She disliked the scent of hunters, but only used a handkerchief, indicating her lower sensitivity compared to Sung Jin Woo.